Hi friends, Sarah here with the Holy Mess. This is the Faith Over Fear series, day 19, and we are reading a beautiful verse from Psalms about sleep. Have you had trouble sleeping? Whether that is just here recently with everything going on with the quarantine and the coronavirus, or is this an ongoing issue that you've had for a long time where you have trouble sleeping? If that is true for you, feel free to leave me a comment. I would love to hear about it, and let's talk about it. So this verse is Psalm 4, verse 8, and this is what it says: I will lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. When I was younger, right after I got married, after my kids were born, I had some real struggles with depression and anxiety, and I've written about that on my website. I will share some links for that. When I was even older still, I had issues with some panic attacks, and really got some good help for that, and I will put a link to that as well. But I definitely struggled with sleep during those times, and for those of you who deal with depression and anxiety, I know that you understand this. It can become a perpetual cycle where your depression and anxiety can lead to trouble sleeping, and then because you're not sleeping, it's harder to manage your emotions, you're tired, you become more depressed, you become more anxious, and then you have more trouble sleeping. So certainly talk to your doctor. Your doctor can be of big help here, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm just sharing from my own personal experience. I know that those middle of the night times when you have insomnia can be so lonely. That's such a feeling of loneliness when it feels like the whole world is asleep except for you, and you're trying to sleep, and the anxiety can really ramp up because it's like, you're looking at the clock and you're thinking, okay, if I fall asleep now, I'll be able to get 3 more hours of sleep. And how am I going to function tomorrow with only 3 hours of sleep? And then you look and it's a half hour later and you're still awake. And now it's like, oh no, only 2.5 hours of sleep. And our thoughts can really start to spin. One of the strategies that helped me tremendously with my panic attacks was learning to be in the moment, because what happens with a panic attack is we start to fly out of ourselves and we go into other places what are other people thinking? What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen with my finances? On and on and on and on we start to spin, and that's what can create that panic in our body. But if you come back to your body, come back to right now, that can help calm down that panic. And for many people, even focusing on all 5 senses, what's something I see, what's something I hear, what's something I can touch, what's something I can taste or smell, can help bring you back into the present moment to slow down the panic. And I think that can be helpful at night as well. This verse is really helpful for me and meaningful for me. If you have trouble sleeping, I would encourage you to put it on a note card and stick it on your bedside table and look at it, read it before you go to bed each night, meditate on it as you're falling asleep. I want you to know you're not alone. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you're feeling lonely and alone, you're not alone. First of all, you're not the only one who struggles with sleep. And second of all, there are lots of others of us who have experienced it, maybe are going through it. You definitely are not alone, but ultimately God is with you. He is there. He will provide for you. One of the passages we read earlier in this study was about, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, I know it's tough, but try to stop those thoughts of, I'm only going to get 2 hours of sleep. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. I won't be able to make it, because that's actually not true. You don't know that that's true. I've had days where I got very little sleep and I was fine the next day, and then other days where I get 7 to 9 hours of sleep and I am tired the next day. So you don't know that it's true for sure that you'll be exhausted the next day. That might be true, but it might not be true. So let's not borrow trouble for tomorrow of things that we don't necessarily know are true. So again, the verse is, I will lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. A couple of practical things I wanted to mention. I very rarely have issues with sleep now. Occasionally, especially when I've got a lot going on or I'm really super anxious about something, I might find myself awake in the middle of the night. And of course, I'm older now, I have to get up and pee. But I think a lot of us can relate to that, especially us women. But I very rarely have issues with sleep. And a few things. One is I really, really encourage you to get some exercise during the day. That is probably the number one thing that has turned my sleep around, is that I think I'm just literally physically wearing my body out. And for so many years, I felt worn out and exhausted, but I really wasn't getting that in a healthy way from exercise. And now that I exercise almost every day, I'm ready to go to bed. At night, I'm ready to go to bed, and I sleep great, and I sleep all night except for the bathroom. But then I go right back to sleep after I go to the bathroom. So definitely getting some kind of exercise during the day. And we have a great Christian weight loss program called Faithful Fitness, run by Kristen Ekis, and I'll put a link to that too. And she has some great chair workouts. So even if you have physical limitations, there's some great workouts in there that are really good for you. Even doing that, you will be amazed at how much that helps your sleep. And then the other thing I want to encourage you is if you get up in the middle of the night and you eat, I really want you to try to experiment with changing that behavior. Now, I'm not making like a hard and fast rule here that you can't ever eat in the middle of the night, but what I would say is, well, first of all, I don't do that anymore. Now that I've lost 100 pounds and I'm keeping that off, I don't eat in the middle of the night. I think that our bodies, I think the research definitely points to the fact, even though by and large, I still believe that it's calories in versus calories out. Generally, there's some things that will adjust your metabolism, but generally, that is still a basic truth. But we do see some things from research that when you eat in the middle of the night or even right before bed, your body doesn't quite metabolize that in as efficient of a way as if you eat it during the day. So there's an interesting book out about our circadian rhythm, and I've only just read about it. I haven't even read the book, but that your body does better with calories when you eat when it's light out, when the sun is shining. I don't mean like if it's raining. I mean like from sunrise to sundown. If you eat your calories during the day when the sun is out, your body can handle that more efficiently. So I've been experimenting with that a little bit in my own life. Not just because I think like, the difference in how my body burns the calories is going to be that much. It's probably not that much. It's more of, it sort of gives me a certain amount of containment around my eating. So if I know that I need to get all or the majority of my calories when the sun is shining, it gives me some boundaries and some structure. And that for me has been helpful. Like I said, I'm not super strict about it. So if I do eat something at night, like after it's dark, I'm not going to worry about it, especially in the winter here when it's dark, it feels like 4:30. Sometimes I can't do it, but I've tried to do that. And I think it's been a positive shift for me. But for those of you who eat a lot in the middle of the night or often, several times a week, I would really encourage you to try to work on that behavior. Just make some shifts. So try to eat later and later. Like if you typically get up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and eat something, can you maybe shift it to 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to then where it's breakfast? Or can you change the amount? So you're eating a little bit less, and that includes drinking things with calories too. I really want to encourage you to try to change that behavior. And part of why that can happen is if you do get into the habit of getting up in the middle of the night and eating, then your body will habituate to it and you will be hungry. And then you might have hunger pangs that wake you up. And we really don't want that. And I think psychologically, we tend to not count those calories that we ate in the middle of the night. Was it yesterday's? Is it today's? And then you're maybe not hungry for breakfast when you wake up in the morning, and you maybe just have coffee with creamer and not a satisfying breakfast with protein. So again, that is a great thing to work on. Just tell yourself, I'm going to run an experiment on an experiment of one. This is the experiment of Sarah or the experiment of Susan or whoever you are. Can you work on not eating in the middle of the night and see if that helps improve that? So those are just a couple practical strategies. Get some exercise in some way, shape, or form during the day. Don't eat at night, or try to shift that around and minimize that if you possibly can. And then from a spiritual and mental perspective, again, this verse, God tells us, it says, I will lie down and sleep in peace, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. You can trust in God and rest in his promises and assurances. And if you find your mind starting to spin, like worrying about tomorrow, worrying about not getting enough rest, focus on the now, stay in the present moment, and then you'll hopefully be able to get some sleep. All right, again, I'm Sarah with the Holy Mass. This is the Faith Over Fear series. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.